Okay. So we are starting chapter number 9 and text number 1. And this is the most confidential knowledge. Shri Bhagavana Vacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyami anasuyave jnana vikyana sahitam yaknatva moksha se shubhat. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So here we see this is the most confidential part of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, one may say, but we can, open the book and read. So, what's confidential about it? Most confidential. So, here, first of all, we see it says Sri Bhagavana Vacha, which means the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. So, from this, we can understand that it is not an ordinary person who is speaking the Bhagavad Gita, it is the Supreme Lord speaking. So the first thing he tells Arjuna is, I'm giving you this most confidential knowledge because you're not envious of me. In other words, if one is envious of the Lord, then one cannot understand the Bhagavad Gita at all. Now, what is the result of knowing this most confidential knowledge? Krishna says that once you understand, then there will be no more miseries. That doesn't mean there won't be miseries, but we will have the spiritual strength to handle those miseries, which means miseries will not affect us. You see? So hearing the Bhagavad Gita helps us to purify ourselves, and it also helps us to become enlightened. And the first thing to understand is Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book. It is spiritual science. We learned this in chapter number 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna that this is a spiritual science. It's not just a religious book. So from the Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, we're going to get the most confidential knowledge. And hearing is the first step, because unless we hear, how will we put it into application? And if we don't put it into application, how is there going to be self-realization? So when we hear the Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees, then we start realizing. We should not hear in association of those who are speculating, in my opinion, according to me, I think so. No, we human beings, we have 4 defects. We make mistakes, we have tendency to cheat, we are in illusion, and we have imperfect senses. So if we are not perfect, how can we give perfect knowledge? So we should hear Bhagavad Gita in association of devotees. And when we put Bhagavad Gita into practice, and when Krishna sees our sincerity, then he gives us the intelligence to understand the Bhagavad Gita. It's not just in our hands. Today I read and tomorrow I've understood. No, we need Krishna's mercy. In the 10th chapter, we will see Krishna tells Arjuna, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi. He says, I will give the buddhi, the intelligence, if we worship the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. And when we do that, then gradually we will come to the stage of self-realization, where we'll realize who we are. Right now, we identify with the body because we are used to it, we are conditioned to it. But gradually we will understand, I am separate from this body. Now, in chapter 2 and 3, Krishna talked about the spirit soul and he talked about karma. That is confidential knowledge. Now, chapter 7 and 8, it was related to devotional service to the Lord. So it's considered more confidential knowledge, you see. Chapter 2 and 3, confidential. Chapter 7 and 8, more confidential. And now chapter 9 is most confidential knowledge. Why? Because it explains to us how to perform unalloyed devotional service. How to perform. So if we understand this most confidential knowledge and put it into practice, then Srila Prabhupada says, then we will reach the stage of liberation. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. You see? So it says that that's this call coming. So it says that when we understand this most confidential knowledge by practicing it, then we come to Brahma Bhuta stage. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. So that stage of liberation can be attained just by engaging in unalloyed devotional service. Just by doing that, we will be able to achieve that, you see. And if we, now the choice is there, right? Do we want to reach that stage or not? If yes, then we need to follow the process. In this verse that we read, Krishna says, Idam Jnanam. This Jnanam that he's talking about is about pure devotional service. And pure devotional service is explained to us in Srimad Bhagavatam by Prahlad Maharaj. He says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. These are the 9 processes of pure devotional service. And it starts with Shravanam means hearing. So when we start doing this, then gradually we get elevated in spiritual consciousness. And then when we are completely clear of all material consciousness, then we can understand the science of Krishna. The most important word in today's verse is anasuyave, not envious. Generally, in this material world, people are envious of someone who is, better than us in some talent, or have more money, or have a better job, or whatever it may be. That envy comes in. But for spirituality, envy has no place at all. It's considered to be an unwanted thing within the heart. So those who are not envious, they will be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita. Now, those who come in the strict disciplic succession, like we learned in chapter 4, where Krishna says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajashiyo vidu, that this knowledge, spiritual knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita should be heard in the strict disciplic succession. Very, very important. Why? Because those teachers who are in this parampara, they are not envious at all. They are not wanting to give their own interpretation or speculation. No, they don't have a personal agenda. Let's put it that way. You see, all they want to do is give the knowledge as it is, which was received from Krishna. You see, so to understand the Bhagavad Gita, we need to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and He is the one who is giving us perfect knowledge without any adulteration. So we're going to do one more verse today, which is verse number 2, where Krishna says, Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam. Raja Vidya. Raja means king. Vidya is knowledge. So Krishna says this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is the king of education. That means there's nothing above it. Why? Because it's the essence of all the Vedic literatures, essence of all knowledge. And it's Raja Guhyam. Guhyam means confidential, secret. Now, we can read the Bhagavad Gita, whether it's a book in hand or online or whatever, but just reading is not going to give us the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. That's just reading. So that is why it's confidential, because we cannot understand it on our own just by reading. That's why Krishna says that one has to be non-envious to understand. See, theoretically, it's very easy to understand. I'm not this body, I'm the spirit soul. But do we remember that when we have difficulties? Do we remember when someone insults us? Do we remember when we have miseries? No. We always try to, not try to, but we are in the consciousness of body. Oh, this one hurt me. Hurt me means not the soul, but the material body. So theoretically, we can understand difference between body and soul, but the science of spirit can be understood only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. You see, in schools and colleges, do they teach us about the spirit soul? No. They only talk about body. They only talk about how to enjoy the senses, how to use this body, to become more famous, powerful, rich, or whatever it may be. You see? But guess what? Without the spirit soul in the body has no value at all. It's absolutely valueless. You all must have heard about Harry Monson, right? He was from Norway. He was a scientist and he discovered the value of this body after the spirit soul has left it. The value is only $5.63. That's the value of the dead body. And we give so much value to this body. You want to dress it nicely, feed it nicely, decorate it nicely, give all the comforts to the body. And in the process, we forget the spirit soul. So this is the most confidential knowledge where Krishna is telling Arjuna that this is king of education, Raja Vidya. There's nothing about this, you see. And if we try to give value to the spirit soul also, then there will be less stress, you see. Then we will be able to really realize that this body is perishable, right? After maybe 100 years or whatever the age may be, the body will just disappear. In other words, the soul will leave the body and then the body is going to be useless. But the soul is eternal. Soul never dies. We learn this in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. That for the soul, there's neither birth nor death. And all the activities of the soul, actually in the spiritual world, Srila Prabhupada says, is the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. You see, and these activities of the spirit soul is Raja Vidya, king of education. Now, Pavitram, the verse says it is Pavitram. Pavitram means pure, purest. You see, and this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, especially chapter 9, is so pure that it can remove our sinful reactions. We all have committed sins in this life, past many lives, or whatever it may be. But here, just by taking on this knowledge, we can remove all sinful reactions. You see, the sins, maybe we have already committed, but there may be some sins that are there within our heart in the form of a seed which is not yet fructified, which means there is some thought process going on that, oh, I might do this, I might do that. It's in the seed form and it can fructify gradually, you see. We possibly have committed sins in the past, but sometimes the reaction takes a long time to fructify. So if I did something wrong, maybe I will get a reaction not in this life, maybe in the next life, you see. So karma is very complicated. But if we want to stop the cycle of sinful activities and sinful reactions, then we need to take on this most confidential knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita given in chapter number 9, which means by following the Bhagavad Gita, it'll help us to come to a stage where we are engaged only in pious activities, which means engaged in devotional service, means serving the Lord with devotion. In the Padma Purana, it is mentioned that if one engages in devotional service of Krishna, then one becomes free from all sinful reactions. And that is what Krishna tells us even in chapter number 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, the last chapter, verse 66. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva pape bhyo. Papa means sin. He says sarva. I'll clean out all the sinful reactions if we just surrender unto Him. So you see, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is very purifying. And the potency is in performing devotional service. That will lead us to perfection. And it says Uttamam. Uttamam means it's transcendental, the highest. And Pratyaksha, the verse also talks about Pratyaksha, which means performing devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. We can see. You see, like I have been chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for almost 40 years, and I can see the difference. Because it is so very pure. This devotional service is so pure that we can even perceive the results. And if one chants the holy names without any offenses, very, very important, then it gives transcendental pleasure. Then there is going to be enlightenment. One will become self-realized, and there is no doubt at all. And then the verse talks about dharmyam. Dharmyam means path of religion. You see? So, to what is the highest religion? Is to love the Lord. That is the highest religion. All religions talk about love of God. Bhagavad Gita is also talking about that. Susukham. Susukham means it makes you very happy, and this process is joyfully performed. Have you ever seen anyone chanting, crying, oh, I'm in misery, and then chanting? No. While chanting, we are so happy because it gives joy. Susukham, joyfully performed. So, devotional service to the Lord gives us pleasure and makes us happy. Why? Because as we chant the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, when we do that, then the heart starts getting cleansed of all misgivings, of all unwanted things. And when the heart is cleansed, when all the nonsense is removed from the heart, then we can understand Krishna. And this process of devotional service is Raja Vidya, which means king of education. And this king of education, which is confidential, which is pure, which is transcendental, and which is joyfully performed, it begins with chanting the holy names of the Lord. Chanting is very, very important. You see, like in school, I remember when I was in school, in the when we were learning science, there used to be the theory part, right? The teacher would explain, this plus this equals this, etc., etc. And then she would take us to the laboratory to show us practically what she had taught. That means there was theory and there was practical. So hearing Bhagavad Gita is theory. We are hearing. It's good to hear, because unless we hear, how will we really understand? And then we need to put it into practice. And practice is chanting the holy names of the Lord, hearing the Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees, discussing spiritual topics with each other. This is devotional service. Of course, there are many other aspects of devotional service, but it begins with chanting. Chanting is very, very important, because that's the only way we can cleanse our hearts. Is there any one of us who can say our hearts are pure and clean? That there is no what you call there is no malice in our heart, there is no envy, there is no lust, anger, greed, nothing. No, you cannot say that. It may be there, maybe in larger degree, maybe in small degree, right? It could be any, in whatever percentage it may be, but it is there. It is there since many, many lifetimes. We're just carrying it in our hearts. How about now that we have the opportunity to hear the most confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Now we have the opportunity to really understand the purpose of human form of life. It's not just eat, sleep, and be merry. That is not purpose of human life. Human life is very, very rare. We've heard this many times, right? I have talked about this so many times, but have you realized it? Do we think about it on a daily basis that now that I have this human form, let me make my life perfect, let me become self-realized, and let me reach the goal, ultimate goal, which is going back to the spiritual world. And it starts with chanting, because until and unless we start chanting, we will not really understand the Bhagavad Gita. So we will just chant at least 10 times, like we always do, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So you please chant with me. And on a daily basis, also please chant. Okay, so let's chant at least 10 times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you see, it's very, very simple. So what did we learn today? We learned 2 verses of chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. The first one is that Sri Bhagavana Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, which means Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Lord Himself. And He tells Arjuna that I'm giving you this most confidential knowledge because you are not envious of me. So, to be able to understand Bhagavad Gita, we have to remove envy from our heart. There should be no envy in the heart. Only then we will be able to understand. The second verse that we read was Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam, that this Bhagavad Gita is king of education and it is most confidential. It's not for everybody. Not everybody can understand. It's purest, right? And it is also, it gives direct perception. You can perceive, and it is joyfully performed. It gives joy and happiness. So these are the 2 verses we read today. And I'm going to stop now. If anyone has any questions or comments.